this bike in second gear. Woohoo! There's no way I should have been able to make it up it. There's no way. Some really tricky stuff. But it kind of just eats it up, man. Hey, if a guy on YouTube can do it, so can I, right? Absolutely not. That way lies ruin, folks. Alright, folks. Many of you have requested this content, and I figured I'm obliged to give it to y'all. Y'all wanted to see the new to me Husqvarna FE501S that I have going down some trails and stuff, and I'm here on Spur Meadow up here in San Diego area, and we're gonna run some single track on this bike, and I'm gonna talk it through why I love it so much. Let's go have some fun. So a lot of you might be wondering, why did I even buy this bike? I think a lot of you might not realize that I really enjoy a lot of cross-disciplinary riding. Some of you see on Instagram that I'm out riding motocross pretty often, and obviously I ride on track, but trail riding is really cool, man. It gives you really good perspective on things, and it helps you turn into a better rider, and I'm all about turning myself into a better rider. So I had the Yamaha WR250R, which I bought as a kind of like a giveaway bike, but then I decided to keep it for myself. I looped it in the parking lot famously, and I was like, well, I've been this bike, I don't think it really makes too much sense as a giveaway bike anymore. So I ended up putting that bike in my own personal stable, ran some trails with it for a while, and I had a ton of fun with it. But I got to the point where I just wanted something a little bit lighter, more capable, a little more interesting to ride. WR is a fantastic bike, and they could honestly do all the same stuff that the Husky's doing, because this is the discipline of riding that is definitely not my forte, but I'm interested in learning more about it. I'm trying to get better at trail riding, because I've noticed that it helps all my other riding. If you're good at riding trails, you can ride a lot of other stuff too. It helps with balance point, learn some basic enduro skills. You know, you can pick up and get pretty good at riding pretty quick, riding trails. So I've had a ton of fun doing it. It's also really good exercise. My calves have gotten very strong. I'm an avid cyclist, as many of you from Instagram know, and it's just good muscle to build on the bike. So yeah, I had the WR, wanted something a little cooler, a little more powerful, a little better, and I had been eyeballing a KTM 350 EXC for a long time, man. I wanted the KTM for so long, but I realized that the 500 had way better street manners, because there's a much bigger engine, way more torque and power, and it only weighed 2 pounds more. So I was like, well, why wouldn't I get the 500, you know? So started looking, started browsing. I remember they were really hard to find in dealerships. People were snapping them up everywhere. They were kind of going literally like before they'd even show up at the dealership, they'd get purchased. So kind of bided my time a little bit, and then a used one came up for sale right near where I live, and it was a 2019 model, had like 600 miles on the clock, not many hours, already done some things to it, and a really good discount off the brand new price. So I was like, dude, heck yeah, I'm gonna buy this bike and it's gonna be fantastic. And oh my goodness, this bike is fantastic. It just chews through anything, man. You don't even have to be that skilled at riding, and this bike will chew through any kind of trail you want to do it on. It is so much fun to ride. It's super capable. See, it just kind of billy goats over stuff. It's amazing. Again, trail riding is my least strong discipline of riding. I am way better on track, both in motocross and actual track days, than I am riding trails. But this little thing just, oh my god, it's so willing. And it's crazy, because you'd think it's not that different from a WR250R if you're not that used to like dirt bike stuff. But this thing has a ridiculous motor in it, man. This has so much torque off the get-go. It's so powerful. And it weighs 240 pounds, which is 60 pounds off of the WR250R, and that's just a ridiculous weight savings on this thing, man. Like, are you kidding me? A little more technical there. But yeah, it's a super willing motorcycle. I've had tons of fun riding it and owning it. And again, with that big 500cc engine, this thing power wheelies in third gear. It's such a hooligan on the street, which is so much fun. The only place it really kind of sucks is when you got to start doing, you know, like highway commuting and that sort of thing. It's really not very fun for that. But I don't know, I didn't buy this bike to commute on the highway with it. I bought it to ride trails like this. Have it just go up stuff like that. Absolutely no problem. It's like not even hard to do anything on this bike. It is so flattering to ride. One thing that's really cool about it too that I haven't really experienced on other trail bikes that I've ridden a couple. Yamaha WR 450, BMW 450 that my fiance's dad has, which was a real wild and interesting bike. WR 250, CRF 300, rid a couple trail bikes. This one, if you're going down to tricky descent, I don't know if it's just the way they tuned it or if all these big single cylinders are like this. You can completely let off the gas and the thing will not stall. It'll just kind of hold this engine braking, this perfect pace down any tricky descent you want to throw it down. It's so cool. It'll just hold the line. This is my second time doing this trail, so I'm not cooking it obviously, but it's so much fun, man. What a sweet motorcycle. And I've had, oh my god, I love this thing. It's so much fun to ride. Downsides, I think, are the maintenance intervals and the cost. If you can stomach those, I think anybody who rides trails on and off-road, if you're a dual sport kind of rider, this is definitely the right bike for you. Obviously, if you're like a hard enduro specialist, you're going to want a lightweight two-stroke. You're going to want to do that whole thing. But, you know, if you're still looking for a plated bike, man, it doesn't get much better than this. This thing's phenomenal. So good, dude. Oh yeah. Feather the clutch. Unstoppable. It's unstoppable. I feel like I'm saying that now I'm gonna get caught out on something. Let's see. Got this little climb here. Easy peasy. Oh man, love this bike. And yeah, to be honest, I don't know if I'd be super comfortable really gassing this thing through this trail. I'm from Texas. We don't have big mountains like this. I do not want to fly off the edge that way. So I'm riding super conservatively. Like super conservatively. I'm even sitting down in some sections because it's really not that complicated. Check this. So easy. Like it's nothing. Like it's literally nothing, dude. Unbelievable. Same here. Just climbs it. This bike is on the Moto Z intermediate tire. This is about as knobby as it gets for a DOT. It's kind of ridiculous as a DOT tire, but it's working so well off-road. Really comparable to the D606s I was running on my WR. It works in a really good variety of terrain. The only terrain I haven't really tested in is mud, and to be honest, you won't catch me in mud. I hate that stuff. I like dry, rocky, loamy. That's me all day. Yeah, it just, you amp up the pace a little bit, it just starts soaking everything up. It's incredible. And it's cool too. You'd think a 500 would be really unwieldy and like really powerful, right? I definitely had that fear when I bought this bike. I was like, oh man, it's a freaking 500 trail bike. Like this thing's gonna eat me alive. But they've done such a good job of tuning it. This is the most rideable and easygoing. Oh, just hit the skid plate there. This is the most rideable and easygoing 500 that I've ever ridden, dude. This thing's so nice. It's so friendly. It's not hard at all. Because I think a lot of those other bikes, like I've ridden a 450 motocross bike, and that's what I thought this thing was going to feel like. So I was honestly a little frightened to jump on it because the 450 motocross bike scared the piss out of me. I rode a KX 450 a long time ago, And I was just like, oh my God, get me off of this thing. I did not like that at all. But no, this thing, the way the power comes on, really mellow, really predictable, really friendly power on this bike. It's a really friendly motorcycle, which you would not think a 500 is friendly, but it is. It's really mellow, really nice power characteristic, super nice. And as you can tell, I'm not having to work super hard over this stuff, you know? Like, I'm definitely riding these trails, but I'm not like out of breath. I'm able to talk to you guys while I do it. You can run such a comfortable pace on the FE501. And honestly, like, I'm really interested in getting a set of 17s for this and ripping it up on a kart track, because I think it would be so much fun at a kart track. I even wanted to chuck it down a motocross track and see what would happen. I bet it would be fine. You may need to really crank up on that suspension, because it's definitely a dual sport suspension. It's not going to soak up, you know, 30-foot jumps or whatever. But there's a guy on YouTube that I've seen that can do it. So, hey, if a guy on YouTube can do it, so can I, right? Absolutely not. That way lies ruin, folks. What a sweet bike, man. Yeah, I love this thing. I mean, look, this like chunky, rocky stuff, it's just eating it up. It does not care one bit about that. What a good bike. Send it. On the brakes a little bit. Coasting down this descent. Having some fun. But yeah, you ride it proper. You know, you really think about your inputs. You really squeeze that gas tank with your legs. Keep your feet in the right your feet in the right position. Lower your heels. This thing just works, man. And it makes someone like me, a very green and amateur trail rider, just look like a superhero. I've climbed up things with this that there's no way I should have been able to make it up it. There's no way. Some really tricky stuff. But it kind of just eats it up, man. Oh man, this is such a sweet bike. I adore the Husky FE501, man. This is such a good motorcycle. I love it so much. And this was basically just a giant love letter, because like 2 or 3 people on Instagram wanted to see a video with it. So here you go. Here's your video. The old Papa Yam on some single track, baby. Enjoying it. I really think if y'all don't ride off-road in any capacity, you really should, man. This will teach you so much. It teaches you so much. It's ridiculous. You become a way better rider riding off-road, whether it's on trails, motocross, adventure riding, even though that's my personal least favorite. You learn a ton. So that was the Spur Meadow Trail here in Corral Canyon OHV. Pretty sweet little trail if you ask me. And this bike in second gear. Woohoo! Set it down heavy, doesn't matter, it's got the suspension to boot. You can just bomb down these asphalt roads too, like a freaking supermoto. What a motor this thing has. Yeah, I love this bike. I freaking love it. It's so much fun to ride. If you're between corners, you can just... Oh, I think I was in third gear. It'll do it in third gear. Let's see. Down into second, maybe? Yeah, it's a riot. Yeah, you can just ride it like a big supermoto, even on this 2118 setup. Oh, also, big thing this bike has is linkage suspension, like a motocross bike, like a real motocross bike. How cool is that? That's what makes me want to go take it off some sweet jumps. Yeah, I love this bike. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little look into it. Let's see if we can pop another wheelie there for you. What a sweet little bike. Flick it up through here on the brakes. Back over this way. Too much fun, dude. This bike is on like a 95.5 like DOT knobby. It's ridiculous. And look at me go. Oh, what a sweet bike. Also, the other thing about it is apparently this motor is very corked up. If I wanted to, there's like a standalone ECU solution that makes this thing apparently like bananas. I don't really need it, I don't want it, but it'll work even more powerfully if I wanted it to, which is scary to think, because this thing's already a freaking handful. Woohoo! All right, folks, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yami Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yami Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yami Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yami Noob.